relevant to the Polkadot network. And there you have this process of auctioning for a spot to be able to put yourself in there, potentially picking next to a person that has maybe a great metaverse, that has a great community and stuff like that. And you can kind of see that there's all these different sizes and such. So if you happen to have more land blocks and stuff like that, it is obvious. And it is something that you can kind of see to differentiate between the power and the community behind a metaverse. So let's head over to the global marketplace, maybe just to share a little bit about that. I know that Daniel will be spending a little bit more time to show you that process. The marketplace, of course, is a place where you can check out different NFTs and things like that that are being listed or for sale. So that would be covering things like the actual metaverses themselves. It could be NFTs, avatars, wearables, art pieces, different assets you can put into the world and things like that. Again, Daniel will go into a little bit more about that. Of course, there is also the network governance process, which I believe another one of the team will be sharing a bit further in terms of more detail later on. But let's head on over into our first metaverse. So with the metaverse, as you kind of already saw a bit, you can put in different images and such when it comes to the land block, so you can customize how it looks. It is an opportunity where potentially you do sponsorship, or maybe you do advertising, or whatever the case may be. That would be something that'll be up to your decision for your metaverse. You can decide how you want to do that process, but it is available to you. You can kind of customize how it looks. I can also add and share that when it comes to this map, which I will say is designed by a team mainly with Daniel's work and stuff like that, so it's really awesome to see his work. And you can actually embed this map inside of your blog or inside of your map or something like app inside of your blog or inside of your website, and that would be an opportunity for you to be able to show your metaverse wherever you want it, essentially, and people can check out the map that you've designed in terms of how it looks and such. But yeah, let me just quickly swap over to the video mode so this looks a little bit better. So we'll optimize it for video this time and jump straight back into the same one. So again, you should all be looking at my screen. We'll give it just a little bit of time for the streaming to pick up. So once you have arrived at your map for your metaverse, you're able to grab this little person and drag and drop them over into the world and let it go. When this happens, the world will start to load up. It needs to, of course, get some basic details. You can see the loading screen that we showed on the Crowdloan page and things like that as well, pre-whitelist page. Sorry about that. Yeah, so you can see the loading screen again. One of the big design goals, as hopefully you've already heard, is for us to make sure that the whole world loads very quickly. We do have a requirement, essentially, that we've put in place, that we need to aim to keep the world loading in less than 3 seconds. So it loaded pretty quick just now. My computer does have some other things running in the background, Zoom, of course, streaming and such. And yeah, we're into the world. So we can see, first of all, that it loads right in your browser. We've got some text and stuff from my testing yesterday with the text tool and stuff like that. But let me kind of go through the process. So just now we've entered into the world in a kind of view mode. In the future, you will be able to, for example, over on this left-hand side, at least that's the idea at this stage, we'll have a menu item for picking missions and game modes and things like that, in which case when you enter into the world, you'd be entering for a specific purpose and a specific goal for you to do when you got into it. In the future, there is also, of course, things on the roadmap to support more devices and such. We want to make sure that it is accessible. So we started with this web version first. It's something that you can access on your mobile. It's something you can access on your computer and things like that. And it doesn't necessarily take too much in terms of performance from the computer. At the moment, I am using an Intel NUC. It is just integrated graphics, and we can see that it actually runs pretty well. So that's something to keep in mind. We are looking further along the roadmap to bring things like an Unreal Engine version. potentially looking at other things as well. It is later on the roadmap as well that we want to look at a VR process as well. But yeah, let's focus a little bit more in terms of what you can do inside of your metaverse. So your avatar is customizable. There is a avatar customizer. At this stage, it is being worked on, and it's not really in a state to demonstrate too much, but it is one where you can select your avatar. You can potentially put different cosmetics and things like that on. And yeah, that's something to mention there. So you can customize how you look in the world. You can do things like when you enter it, you could change the size and such. But still, anyway, now that we're here, we see that we have this voxel-based world. We're able to very simply remove and place items. We can open up a menu where we can see a selection of different blocks. These are something that you can configure as a metaverse owner. You can create your own blocks if you wanted to and stick your face on it and just paste it around the world. That's completely up to you. When it comes to modifying or changing the world, that's where Bit will come into play again. When you are placing blocks or changing the world, there is a cost in terms of resources, a cost in terms of performance for users. So when you place your blocks, it will be spending your Bit that you earn by staking your land, by mining and things like that. And that's something I'll share a little bit more about a bit later on. We can also have a look at objects and such. I think I just saw my screen stop sharing for a moment, so hopefully you can still see fine. You can put your NFTs here. On this particular account, I don't have any NFTs. We can also do props and things like that. These are essentially 3D models and assets that you're putting into the world that don't necessarily have to be NFTs or anything like that. It's a pretty straightforward process to do. So we can select one of these. It seems like my computer's having a hissy fit with Zoom streaming. Once we have a little bit more time on my CPU to do stuff, or maybe I need to start closing things in the background. Hopefully you can still see things all right. It's just being a little bit slow with the Zoom streaming and such. So we can pick one of these assets that we've already created in the past, or we can just create a new one. Normally you would use a model file such as GLB. Let me just, for example, pick a new asset. So I do my asset. So this would be creating a brand new thing that I can put into the world. It's pretty straightforward. We pick our file, we give it a name, then we just go through and do the process of creating it. So it's just creating a new one. Then we'll be in a position to be able to place it into the world. Again, my computer's really not happy about doing the streaming. It's pretty simple that once it's in, you can just kind of pick it, let it load, and place it into the world. Here's this new asset I've just made. Let's just pick this one because I know it's a little bit lighter. So we do that. We can see that it's in the world now. We're able to rotate it. We can scale it larger or smaller. Once we're happy with the position, we can right-click, and the asset is now in the world. Again, this is something that you would spend Bit based on the complexity of your 3D asset that you're placing. If it has a very high poly count, if it has a very expensive size or does things like that, you'll need to spend more Bit to cover that. So we can see it's pretty straightforward to be able to do that. We can also do media in terms of videos and images and things like that. So that's one of those things that you can do as well if you want to be able to put different images and stuff into the world. So if we can jump over to the tools section in a bit, that's where we'll be able to see some of the other tools that are available inside of the metaverse, where we can do things like customize your environments for your metaverse, remove assets and things like that as well. And we also have a typewriter. So for example, if you wanted to be able to put your own text into the world, oops, not that button, go here, set it to red, 240. We can say the classic hello world. And then we can also just place that into the world. but we won't do that in this case. If we head over to the environment customizer, this is just a simpler version at this stage. We will build it out further so that we can make it easier for you to understand. We can configure our sky. We can configure the ground color. In the past, we had a texture for the ground color. At this stage, we've made it a grid. Again, it will be something that you'll be able to configure. You can choose to use a texture or an image if you want for your ground. So if we make it green now, we can see that it updated. And yeah, so that shows you a little bit about the process here. We can see, for example, that we've put in a large stadium or something here. We can see that we have a large animated basketball trophy. Again, that's all using that same process I shared just before in terms of placing this model here. So yeah, you have quite a lot of control in terms of how you do it. It's all pretty straightforward in terms of placing it into the world. You don't need to have any technical skills or anything like that. As long as you know how to use your mouse and keyboard, as long as you know how to enter into the world, then you're going to be in a pretty good position to be able to customize it, to modify it and such. Something that I haven't necessarily shared here that's also important to keep in mind is that you can attach behavior to assets you've placed into the world, and that would be able to do mini games and things like that for your community as well. So let's head towards the void. The void is an area that is where you haven't put any of your land blocks, and it's an area where you will do mining. So if we head through, we see that the look of the world, of course, has changed. We see that we are now not able to see quite as far, and we can also see these glowing blocks here and such. So if I can just jump back into our normal build mode, essentially, we can actually do bit mining. So as we've kind of mentioned earlier about mining, this is the process where you would come into this world and you would start collecting these. So you can kind of see that the allocation that I have down in this bottom right area, which is a function of my mining power and the amount of bit that was minted on the blockchain, that it will start to increment and count up as I collect this. We will have other processes in the world as well for you to be able to get bit in terms of things that you can do in the void, or maybe you do it inside of the game world itself. The bit, as I mentioned, will be what you use to customize your world, to change how everything looks and things like that. So yeah, I think that kind of shares a little bit about that part. Of course, you can also see in the top right that there is an offline there at the moment. If we were next to other players and we swapped to online mode, we would see that there were a whole bunch of other players interacting with each other, where you can chat when you open up the chat and things like that. But let me just quickly swap over to another tab. You should all be still able to see my screen. We can see now that we are inside of the stadium. We can see that, for example, we have used our image and media to put some images around. We can see that the possibilities really that you could do things here. So there could be scripts and different behavior associated here that team that I'm leading, we are working on an API and framework again to allow you to create experiences and such. So yeah, let me just quickly go online. So this is just connecting to our multiplayer server. One of the things that we're also developing is multiple different ways to go online. So we have a multiplayer server where you can connect into, and that would be much more of a kind of centralized approach. It's good for larger events and things. There is also kind of more of a peer-to-peer mode as well, which will continue to work even in a situation where for some reason you can't connect to our servers, they're down, updates, whatever. You'll still always be able to connect with your friends using that kind of peer-to-peer method. I believe that this tab has had a little bit of a issue, so let me jump back to this one. Or the multiplayer server has decided to die right at this very moment. But yeah, when you connect into it, it's something that you can see. You've seen some of our demos in the past with the multiplayer server connection. It's something that maybe we can share off a bit later on. But yeah, mindful of the time, let me just stop sharing video mode so that I can show a little bit of the rest of the site. Just a moment. Go back to share again. Take it off video mode. All right, yes. So That kind of shows you a little bit about the world. Another area to touch on that Ray briefly showed, there is the feeds for your metaverse as well. That's where your community will be able to do posts and things like that. Okay, I think I figured out what happened. My login expired. The feeds is where you'll be able to see posts and things like that. Let me just stop sharing my screen because it's decided to play up a bit. Yeah, the feeds is where you'll be able to share your posts and such. It's a place for the community to be able to share events. That's where you could have timeline things happen, like if you walked into the world and someone walked into your shop and they met certain criteria, it could automatically record it and post it to your timeline and different things like that. So yeah, I think that gives you a little bit of an idea in terms of what you can do in the world. You can see that's a pretty straightforward process. You can just grab those model files that you could get from the marketplace or something like that. You can create your own when you fill the specification. You'll be able to find out more details about that later. But yeah, hopefully you'll have a bit of a better idea now in terms of the metaverse, in terms of the 3D aspect and things like that. And yeah, I think that's pretty much everything from my side. So I guess I'll hand it back over to you, Gardy. Seem to be having let me try to do this.
Hi, Shannon. Thank you so much. That was amazing. And thanks for giving us a glimpse inside, the 3D world. And I think it just gave everyone a clear understanding of how they'll be able to build their own metaverse. So thanks for that. And we're going to delve a bit deeper now. And I'll hand you over to Daniel, who'll share some info about the marketplace, which Shannon touched on, and subdivisions within your metaverse. So over to our co-founder, Daniel.
Yeah, thank you, Gardy, and the rest of the team. And hey, everyone, good to see you all here. And my name is Daniel Choi. So I'm one of the co-founder of the Bit.Country team and also a software developer who focusing on the web and also the game development. So in today's webinar, so I'm going to showcase two features that we recently built. So just let me share the screen. So I think that you can see the right screen on the side. Okay, so there are lots of features that we built by our team because of the time limitation, so we are not able to show it all. So for example, this is where we can toggle between the dark mode and the light mode. And today we will be just using the dark mode for the presentation. And also this is how our global marketplace will look like. Sorry, going back to our marketplace. Just give us a second. Oh, maybe let me share the screen again. Yeah, I think there is some issues with the API at the moment. So the network is currently down. Maybe just take a few more seconds to everything's to spinning up again.
Okay, Daniel, I think maybe while you're getting that sorted, I'll just remind everyone watching that we will, because I've been seeing some messages about NFTs and so on, we will be sharing the link at the end. And just a reminder, what you'll need to do is you'll need to complete the form and submit it to claim your NFT. Any questions about that? And yes, and if you have any questions, to post it in the Q&A box, please. So thank you so much. Over to you, Daniel.
Yeah, thanks. Is come back alive. So okay, so global marketplace. So global marketplace allow the users to put their NFTs such as their shoes, jacket, 3D model, or sound that you build from any form of NFT to put it here for sale across different metaverses on the global marketplace. So on the left side, we can see the filter of the marketplace, and then we group the filter into those categories for now, such as the listing type, the rarity, the keyword and also the collections. So there are different type of the listing on our marketplace, such as the on sale, on auctions, or for rent. Also at different level of the rarity, different collection representing different set of the NFTs. So on top of the menu bar, we can choose different categories from here. So we've got the avatars, we've got the art, 3D models, music, and etc. So for instance, we are going to have a look at the avatar. And also you can use the filter here to choose the epic item or the legendary item or both. So in this case, I want to select those items, and also this is something that I'm interested in it. So this is the first human in the metaverse, and once you open it, so you can see the 3D model on the left and some basic information about the NFT on this page. So with the 3D viewer, so you can rotate the 3D viewer to have a look at the model in different angle. And also you can have a look at the right side to see some more basic information about the NFT, such as the bidding history from the past, and then the NFT supporters, who was the supporters for this NFT, and also the ownership of this NFT, and also some insight of the NFT. Okay. So we can just exit this page and come back to the global marketplace and keep browsing by just clicking the reset filter. So we're going back to the homepage where it shows all of the NFTs, and maybe just because of my network connections problem, it's quite slow here. So yeah, you can just keep scrolling down to find out the best NFT that you're looking for, or just using the filtering option on the filter. Okay, the next big thing that I want to share with you guys is the subdivision tool. Okay, so if we go to the Genesis VC and we go to the subdivision, this is the tool that we can subdivide our land block. So in Bit.Country, a land block can have the maximum of 100 subdivided land units, and they are all subdividable. Once the land block owner divide the land, each divided land unit will form an estate. So you can divide the land into different estates for different purpose, such as for the lease or for sale. This tool is going to empower the landowner to subdivide the land for their community, and also it provides a good vision on how you would arrange your estate. So for this example, I'm going to select the Daniel's NFT. So this is, as you know, my NFT. And on the left side of this page, this is where you can divide the land unit with a land block by single clicking, or by just drag this clip. Okay, and then you can add the new estate. Okay, the reason we couldn't do it because each subdivided land must be next to each other. So this is how we add and form the estate. Sorry, as you can see. Okay, and on the right side, you can also see the new estate and existing estate. So the existing estate is the group of the estate that you built before, and you can also deleting or updating the estate using this tab. Okay, so we couldn't do it for now because we have to finish our previous action. So once you click the create new estate, so the it will trigger those functions and creating the estate in the database, and also you can update removing all those estate in here as long as the status of the estate become minted, not pending. Okay, so this is basically how the subdivision tools work, and I think this is quite a simple tool but with a great purpose. So yes, I think that will be all from for my presentation. So let me pass this back to Gadi.
Oh, thanks so much, Daniel. That's awesome. Thanks. And now we're going to move over to our devs and design team. So they'll give us an idea of what they've been working on and how that will impact the metaverse. So let me pass you over to Mike to talk about governance.
Everyone,
Hi.
you can hear me. I'm Mike, blockchain developer based in London. Today I'm going to show you our Metaverse governance user interface. So just let me share my screen. So hopefully you can see it now. So yeah, this is a governance page. We built this to allow members of the Metaverse to create proposals and also vote on ongoing referendums. So to create a proposal, we just have to select some action, and this action should make some meaningful change to your Metaverse. So I'm just going to select one here, Metaverse, freeze Metaverse. So when we create a proposal, a referendum will begin, and this will give you and your members a chance to vote on whether you want this proposal to be enacted on your Metaverse or not. So by going to the freeze Metaverse referendum, we can see some details here, such as the name and for which country this is, Metaverse it is. We have a voting time, and we also have options to vote yes or no. So this is all happening on chain. If I vote yes, and this is going to update. And once this referendum is finished, then the action that we pre-selected before, freeze Metaverse, will be scheduled to execute on chain in a couple of blocks time. And yeah, all of this will happen automatically without any manual intervention. So using this power of on-chain governance, Metaverse owners can make meaningful changes and make it a better place for themselves and their users. And that's it from me, CEO on the Metaverse. Hand it back over to you, Gardy.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. I think let's move on to Jerry. Jerry, you there? If you can tell us a bit more about the notifications, monitoring.
Oh, yeah. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me all right? Cool. Awesome. My name is Jerry. I'm a senior software developer. I work closely with Justin on the blockchain side of things. So before joining Bit.Country, I was a cloud solution architect at Deloitte. So I'm just going to quickly show you what I've been working on recently. So as someone saying that cloud is someone else's computer, so it's really important to have monitoring tools. So apart from blockchain and the Metaverse, we got something called indexer. So that's basically will retrieve all the events that happen on the blockchain and then sync that to our gaming side of things. For example, we create a Metaverse that happens on chain, then we want to send the data back to the Metaverse. So then we use blockchain as a single source of truth. So this thing is called indexer. Basically, that will do those things, and so it's important to keep an eye on this, seeing everything's working as expected. As Justin mentioned, recently we have won the summer auction. And I think right now it's in the onboarding process. Everything will be live in about 5 or 4 days time. So we recently have set up Prometheus and Grafana to monitor the clicker nodes. They'll give us a pretty good idea how this is performing at the moment. Will give us the number of RPC connections, the peer node. Apart from that, we also set up the basic monitoring on our EC virtual machine. As you can see, our CPU is pretty 100%. We definitely do spin that up. Yeah, so that's all from me. Back to you, Gary.
Awesome. Thanks, Jerry. I think let's hand over to Addie to tell us more about, the shaders and show us some of the cool work.
Hi, everyone. How are you doing? Let me just share my screen real quick. Yeah. So this is an early version of our avatar customizer. It has GPU support for morph maps and things like that. So content creators are going to be able to upload their own avatars and create their own sliders and customizables for people to actually edit. Users will be able to use the decal editor to customize their avatar. I'll just go back to that again. So that you can choose or customize what your avatar looks like and put your own logos on things and really make it your own. We are also working on customizables, so wearables like clothing and better avatars. Obviously, this is a very old version. We have a hologram shader and a bird that you're going to be able to use in the world. You'll be able to apply that to various other buildings and effects and things you place in the world. And finally, this is our loading screen, which is something I made recently. It's very lightweight. It's under 100K. It runs on mobile and it looks great. So you'll probably see this a fair bit every time you log in. Back to you, Gardy.
Awesome. Thanks, Addie. I think it's time to, is Michael, are you there? Can you share some views with us?
Oh, Michael, it seems like your sound's playing up at the moment. Yep, cool.
Okay, sweet.
Hello, hi Michael, over to you.
Hey guys, so I'm working with Shannon as a 3D artist. I'm making models that will work within the engine, and I'll share my screen so I can show you some stuff. Sweet. So this, so this is an example of an avatar that players can use within that they could pick and use within the engine. And the idea behind this one was you could blend between each version. So I'll show you how that might work. So this is it. This is where the rig was built. So that's like an example of it morphing between each avatar. So I'll move on to the next one. So this piece was for a influencer online, and for Ash, Wall Street Bets. This was like the initial idea, but I needed to show how it could be used within his metaverse. So I separated the bits out and then took this into rendered it. And this is it here. I just built out a wee composition for it, and I'll add the textures on. So this is like, as maybe he had a bunch of followers as his army, and he could give out his mask as an NFT, perhaps. And then we're also developing avatars for a Metasoul project. And this could be, possibly represent who you are online as like your alter personality. So this is obviously a higher fidelity than what it would exist as in the online engine. But yeah, that's pretty much all from me. So I'll hand it over to someone else.
Thanks, Michael. I'd love for you to create my avatar in the metaverse. Amazing, amazing work. Let's move on to Logan, who will tell us a bit more about Metasoul.
Okay. Thanks, Cardi. Hi, guys. I'm very glad to see you all here. I'm the designer in the Bit.Country team, and my name is Logan, who are working very closely with developers and our marketing team behind the scene. I've involved this amazing project since very first beginning. My job is to visualize any thoughts or ideas in the heads from our teammates. And I believe you guys already seen my work from websites, products, or NFTs, or all the way to variety posters and banners on social medias. And looking back on with experience, we have tens of thousand ideas came up in environment, and we had to give up some of really good ones and kept polishing the best one. Design always go first here. The biggest challenge here was creating something new that never existed before, and such as the concept of a whole new virtual world or metaverse, and what people are gonna look like in that world. So maybe let me share my screen. Just a second. Can you guys see my screen? Cool. So this is the NFT I've created before, and some of you guys already knew about it. As you can see, this is the our next project Metaverse, and we guarantee you guys we're gonna not gonna extract your souls from you guys. It's actually something like in this parallel virtual world, you're gonna have a second or the third identity in that world. You could be anything, and you could be a virtual human, you could be a robot, and maybe you can be animals, any object that can carry consciousness, and they were driven by a powerful AI. You're gonna learn something new behaviors. Maybe in the future you're gonna have your own personality. Yeah. So maybe at the last, that's what I'm currently doing. Yeah. Back to you, Cardi.
Awesome. Thanks, Logan. And that wraps up our intro from the team. We are now going to open up the questions. I see there are quite a few in here. So what I'll do is I'll just open up here and let's see. I'll just choose some random ones. There's so many here. Good one here from Sue Eun Oi. Is the NFT marketplace traded in NUUM?
Yeah, well, do you want me to answer that? Or?
Thanks,
okay.
Justin.
Yeah, so yeah, well, thanks for the questions. Yeah, for the NFT marketplace, at this stage, we create like two levels of the marketplace, that the global marketplace and the local marketplace, which is like your local metaverse marketplace. So under the global marketplace, that you can trade with the native tokens that on the Metaverse.Network. This could be on our canary is NEER, and is on our mainnet is NUUM. And on the local metaverse, that's as you can trade that within your own local community. So that's it can be on your own social token if you can get accepted from the for the governance. All right. So I hope that answer your question.
Awesome, thank you. And question from Tommy Astikainen. Can dozens, hundreds, thousands of users come together, pool their resources and build a metaverse together? Good question, Tommy. Who would like to answer that one?
I'd be interested to jump in with that one. Yeah, I definitely see that as a possibility. In terms of, part of it is answer for Justin, but in terms of the creating a metaverse, pulling together to be able to build it out as, I guess, a collaborative or something like that is something that we want to support. In terms of the part that my team focuses on, the metaverse building, we already have on the roadmap to allow for you to share building rights on your land inside your land block, inside your metaverse. So in that case, you could share it with your community, your kind of collaborative group, and all build it out together. that would be a process that would be supported. You're also able to use it for things like maybe you are paying for services of someone else to build your world. Maybe you don't have time to build it yourself. So we definitely think that there will be things like almost like accredited builders, you could say, that they could come into the world, you pay them, they build it out for you. So yeah, I guess since it's kind of like a two-part thing, I guess Justin, on kind of the blockchain side, in terms of allowing people to collaboratively build out or own it, I'll pass it to you.
Sure, thanks, Shannon. Yeah, so with our current benchmark, so within a block that we can have at least around like 5 to 100, from 500 to around sort of 1,000 metaverses they can create within one block, which is like around like 6 seconds. So of course, like the team we can create some more and some more scalability into that. It's really depends on how we can optimize the block productions and things like that on the blockchain. But yeah, I think at this stage, user they can create up to 1,000, metaverses in a single block based on our current benchmark. Of course, in the future we can optimize a bit more, to create like 10,000 metaverse within 6 seconds. All right. So yeah, I mean, when we get into those points, I think that is our blockchain should be very scalable for that. So in terms of interactions between like train-fed NFTs and stuff like that, like train-fed assets, I think at this stage we don't have any issue. If 10,000 train-fed NFTs or the assets they created at the time, so would be enough number of transactions will be fit into one block. Otherwise, this will be moved over into the next block. So all the transactions would be executed. All right. So hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Shannon. Thanks, Justin. Wow. Okay, we've got a few here. I'll go over to a question. I can't pronounce the name, but how do you consider your place comparatively with close competitors, Decentraland and Sandbox?
Cool. I'll go for this question, Gardy. Thanks, everyone. Amazing presentation. That's great to show what we've been doing and also get yourself introduced to our community. So today we have a limited amount of time. We're bringing more sessions, demo days with NFTs available in the near future. So you get to see each of us, and including our ambassadors, head ambassadors, those top helpers in the Telegram, Discord. Our team know about you. We see some people like Pondering, Leo, Dimitri, those wonderful people helping us. So we'll introduce them in the future. Yeah. So my vision is there will be thousands of different metaverses, just like there will be hundreds of different sci-fi movies and narratives, right? And the point of difference of ours that we're building blockchain as well as the UI. So Metaverse.Network is you can think as like a metaverse version of Ethereum, which is Bit.Country is like a D app that you can use in the browser. In the future, you can use it in the Unreal Engine desktop and also in the VR. Also some question come up from the VR. One major point of difference is you can launch your own metaverse for your people, for your community, right? You can choose your own sky. We can give you the complete freedom to build up the dream world or home for your assets, for your legacy, for your community. Whereas others, they're building a monolithic world that you can't really influence too much. If you ask yourself a question, if you go to some platform, I want the sky to look like a Mars today. Can that be? Whereas it's possible in Bit.Country because you and your landowners, stakeholders who govern your metaverse. All right. Second thing is that we are decentralized and it's an open platform. So your metaverse or all the entire metaverse network will last, especially after we decentralize 100%, will last as long as Bitcoin, which in turn I believe that will be everlasting for human civilization lifespan. And thirdly, come down to the narrative. We're on Polkadot. We're the first one, and I assume to be the largest one will be inside the Polkadot ecosystem, we can be a very interesting narrative to bring the pioneers from Kusama to the continuum on Polkadot through incentivized great immigration. Those selected ones through governance will come to us with us to continue to build a more wonderful land. While Kusama room is limited, give more people a chance to use your land or buy your land to follow the same journey. So we like to see that as a trilogy. Our team is based in New Zealand. New Zealand brought you the Lord of the Rings films, Avatars, those trilogy films. We also inspired by that kind of storylines. So Pioneer has been our first episode, continue second. And the third part of the trilogy is more exciting, will be realized after 5 years. And the idea is concrete and solid. The concept is, I'll tell you later, okay? So I think we got enough story to overwhelm you. And again, I want to highlight our culture is about a journey together. And it's just like the journey, how our team grew from 10 years ago to this point, how those students grow from employees to co-founders to be CEOs. We want to see the NEER holders, the users, our early adopters with part of the same journey. That's the culture and the value we entertain and we invest in. So I think that says enough, but a lot more. But overall, again, Bit.Country and the Metaverse shows our understanding of the world, people, origin, and the future. It's our own understanding, which is a unique, for this particular narrative.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ray. Let's see here. We've got, what's that? Ruslan Rudyashko. Will there be some kind of land sale? To you, Ray.
In terms of land sale, since everyone is here and so excited, again, we will honor the contributors in Kusama, the qualified ones. Our team try to do our best to give everybody a chance, or majority, 90% of participants a chance. Of course, we have upcoming events, which is Odyssey token event coming up in about 6 days from today, all right? We'll onboard more users. Again, our team have a different culture and a unique value proposition. We will play things differently. We look after the true users who potentially want to launch a metaverse or be part of the metaverse in the future. So I can't really sell too much about our plan. Things will become clearer before Christmas or after the 3rd of December. Again, if you understand our value and understand, our system and the platform as a vision, and you should, if not, do your own research. And I hope you feel you guys will be in the same hands. And just as all my students in the past, the co-founding teams and employees. In terms of public sale, we use distribution first, and we'll put on the public sale land on hold because we want to create a environment that allow people to focus on the build rather than just speculating on the prices. So the land distributed is only for your own metaverse. You can subdivide further and sell it to other people who love your community or transfer to your friends. In terms of platform sale, we need to look and pause for a while so that people can focus on the development side, building a variety of cultures and metaverse on the continuum and allow people to come and add value to your community. So we call it the grow to earn. But we do have a private sale with the big partners. So far, we sold the private land sale potentially good for a community because they will bring over 100 million users if all of their fans on board. So we can't really reveal their name. That will be reviewed in the near future after we go live.
Thanks, Ray. I think you answered quite a few questions with that answer. So that's fantastic. Next question. Where did I see this? What kind of games do you plan to integrate into Bit.Country from Vova Gavrish? That's a great question. Shannon, do you want to answer?
Yeah, thanks, Kadi. Yeah, so in terms of games and things like that, in terms of integrating, there is the potential of support if they follow standard NFTs and things like that, that those NFTs could be brought over into Bit.Country to be viewed and things. In terms of creating your own experiences, I'll answer this kind of multiple ways, depending on how you ask the question exactly. In terms of creating your own experiences, there will be an API and framework available, developed by my team, where you will be able to create these missions or game modes. So, for example, one of the proof of concept ones, which I didn't have a chance to share here, that we finished a few months ago, was kind of something in between Snake and like a bullet hell game where you have to try and dodge everything. So that was one of the ones that we had done. Addy had also developed a proof of concept for the game framework as well. And that one was like a capture the flag, but in this case called capture the kitten. So that's where you would run around, you could shoot lasers at each other. And again, it's something that we didn't really have a chance to share here. So with the framework, you will be able to do quite a lot of different things in the world. I see that you could create a lot of different experiences. So hopefully that kind of answers your question.
Before you go anywhere, Shannon, one more for you.
Okay.
From Eldad Kanawa. Hello, do we need some special glasses to access the metaverse?
Okay, yep. So no, not at this stage. To access the platform, as long as you have an internet connection and I guess a computer that isn't too old. In that regard, I answered a question just before. The minimum specs for getting into the world, those will be detailed more later. One of the big and important goals is to make sure it's accessible by as many people as possible. I saw some people had mentioned about graphics and things like that. It is something that we're still continuing to work on. If you didn't happen to see my tweet, you could see that we were making improvements to the PBR rendering pipeline. Addy is also working on some more shaders and things like that as well to make the world cooler. It is still our primary goal for this version to make it accessible. So we will see about how we can push the graphics while making it easy. As we said, with a roadmap with Unreal Engine version or whatever the case may be in the future, that's where we'll definitely be able to push the quality or the fidelity of the graphics further. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, it does. I think answer it perfectly. Thank you so much, Shannon. Now I'm keeping an eye on the time, and I think we'll have to just wrap it up with a few more questions. Let's see here. I think some of these we've already touched on. Okay, I've got a question here from Ganesan Srinivasan. Are all the artifacts, land, avatar, all stored in blockchain too?
Yeah, so in your metaverse, every single pixel is an asset. Because when you deploy a building or building something or land, that will burn the BIT, which you earn through staking reward or completing tasks by growing the community to earn. So there's a two part of components. For the ledger, there'll be your own blockchain. For other media files, it will be stored on our metaverse storage platform, which is a decentralized storage using IPFS protocol. So that again will be incentivized for IPFS node holders who storing civilization files, media files, and histories, legacies, and they're getting paid through BIT token.
Thanks, Ray. I'll just take two more questions. I think some of these questions, like I said, we've already covered. If your question is not answered, we'd love to get to all of them, but please do your research and check us out on Medium, follow our Telegram and Twitter, Facebook. Just check all our channels, and you can always get in touch with the team there. But I'll take two more questions. Okay. So, very good question. Abdul Majid Mohammed, how do you think the metaverse will transform into the upcoming 5 years, and what role will Bit.Country be playing in this sector? Great question, Abdul. Thanks. Who would like to answer? Right?
That's a good question, Abdul. Thanks for asking. Our role is to tell the stories, to make those products supporting the stories that we believed in, which is again our understanding of origin and the world, people, and the future. We see Metaverse is the new internet, is the new medium for people to interact and work and live. Especially, there will be many jobs to be created. We published a thesis about bringing 100,000 jobs opportunities, especially through the Metaverse owners, and then let the opportunity to be accessed through those unprivileged regions that with the internet. Given the Starlink and the modern technology, I think people in Africa or part of Asia or the Latin area, they will have access to internet. That means they will have a job opportunity to serve the wider community to meet our people's demand. Again, we'd like to see a journey together, a journey from unknown to familiar, to understanding, to share the same vision. At the same time, along the ways, there'll be opportunity to be created. That's kind of our plan. Our role is that we want to create a new trend. I personally want to see one particular Metaverse project will be in the top 5 list of CMC. I believe I can see that one day, because traditional layer 1 protocol, they don't have this community viral effect. With a Metaverse such as a Bit.Country, one Metaverse will bring literally from at least 2 people to millions of people, and they will bring more people in. So this viral effect is very powerful, especially in a social community, especially in the context of the Metaverse development. We like to see that, and then hopefully we'll be part of that, and we'll work hard on it.
Thank you so much, Ray. Last question from Amoyi Udehi. Thank you for showing us what you've been working on. I understand that there are options to design in Metaverse NFTs and a partnership with RMRK, but I was wondering if there was a way to bridge other blockchain NFTs, particularly the popular ones like the punks.
Yes. Well, I can answer that question. So, yeah, I think as I already mentioned before, on the Metaverse networks, our goal is to become like the network with multi-chain. So your assets gonna be bridging across all the different blockchain. It's not only within the Polkadot ecosystem, within the parachain, but it's also outside of the system as well. Like for example, if you create an NFT on Ethereum, that you can bring that over into the Metaverse networks, and you can display that in Bit.Country. Or if you create like a great NFT, creates a great vibe inside of Bit.Country, you can bridge that over to the Ethereums that you can see. You can sell that on the different marketplace and stuff like that. So interoperability is our goal. To create assets that can freely transfer, that can freely flow from one blockchain to the other. I think it's to the point that at the moment we already built our bridge. So that is, you can bring the Bit.Country or the Metaverse asset to the EVM, compatible blockchain, which is that not only Ethereum, but also with Hiko, Binance, and so all other blockchains that support EVM as well. So yeah, I think I hope that answered the question.
Thanks, Justin. That's great. So that wraps it up for today. I just want to thank you so much for spending the morning with us, or wherever you are in the world. It was so great to connect with you and to introduce you to the team, show you what we've been working on. Let's keep the connection going. Join us in our social media channels, Discord, Telegram, those are and Twitter. Those are the key ones. I have dropped the link, the very special POAP NFT link. So please click on the link. I'll send it again. If you missed it, click on the link, fill in the form and claim your special NFT. Shows you were here at this very special moment in time. And hopefully you can claim some utilities in the future. So that's it from me and the team. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day. Kia ora, till next time.
Yeah, I just got a few words for everyone. Thanks, team, for the great presentation, and especially we need to get up this early. Really appreciate that, and we want to give great more chance to meet the community, understand, where the people with a real flesh and blood and hearts in here, and also to the wider community. Either you are a contributors or followers, you are treated the same. we want to convey a message to everyone, from our seed investors to our contributors or investors in the future. We want to thank you. Thank you for believing in our vision, and our team is a long-term team. We have various business on our group. We have a very experienced team, culture, and a business mindset here. Especially to the seed round investors, at the time we only have a paper without any code. They add a tremendous amount of value. They brought a tremendous amount of connection for us, and literally work us for free for the last 12 months. And each of them, they bring us connections, land partnerships, social media influencers, and also advisors. We thank them very much for being part of the journey at the very beginning when we were nobody. But in the future, I mean, the good news is it's still very early, all right? Metaverse is at the very beginning of the new era. We are very excited. I personally very excited to create a new trend. My personality is, I'm driven for a purpose, and I want the rest of the lifetime of my life to create something that's meaningful and then make an impact, to the people who have the right attitude, are keen to learn, and want to put the efforts in to grow for themselves and their families. All right, thanks everyone. Have a beautiful day, and I know somewhere is very late. Have a good sleep, and then see you around. Join our Discord.
Thanks so much. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Great questions. See you all next time.
Hey, everyone.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.
Recording stopped.